Thank you, Jim. Since 1998, my guest has been working with Medical Education International, which is an arm of the Christian Medical Dental Association. Look at this.
MEI teams consist of 2 to 10 team members who commit to share their expertise by giving clinical or academic instruction to medical professionals in another nation, often in the Muslim, Buddhist, or Hindu world. Teams spend 1 to 2 weeks sharing their knowledge in medical schools, universities, and on hospital wards. Medical and dental knowledge is life-changing, but in countries where it is difficult to share a Christian perspective, deep compassion, competent teaching, and sincere Christian love are the means to changing hearts in healthcare.
As I said earlier in the program, I've known Dr. Laurie Elit since 2005. Actually, when girlfriends met for dinner at her home on Friday night, we, for the first time in a long time, weren't living in fear of her pager going off and calling the physician away. I had no idea how diverse and demanding her work is. Dr. Laurie is a gynecologic oncologist at the Juravinski Cancer Center in Hamilton, as well as a professor in the Department of OB/GYN at McMaster University. She's the scientific lead for the cervical cancer prevention program at Cancer Care Ontario. And we've just had a taste of how you spend your vacations, Dr. Laurie.
That's correct.
This is a treat to have you here.
Thank you.
Now, are you refreshed when you go on these working vacations?
So before I leave, I'm absolutely exhausted.
That's what I thought.
But you're energized when you spend time serving other people. So actually, when you come back, you're renewed, you have a fresh outlook at the work that you do back at home.
This mission focuses not so much on going and practicing, but teaching.
That's correct. Many missions up until this time have involved physicians going and giving care to patients in various areas of the world. This mission involves physicians who are professors, who are teachers within academic institutions, having an opening in worlds that they might otherwise not have an opening, whether it's a medical meeting, whether it's a hospital that has inability to get medical updates. Medical Education International provides physicians to go and give those kind of updates in those worlds.
And it's an amazing wide open door.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us the countries that you've visited.
So with Medical Education International, I've been in Mongolia and in Kenya. I do have a history of going overseas since I was a medical student. So I started in Papua New Guinea, and I've been in Bangladesh, Pakistan, Cambodia, Vietnam, a number of different places throughout the world.
Well, we can't tell the whole story, but we can do last year. It was 2 trips last year.
That's right.
The first one, Mongolia, and I have my
correct
here. These are beautiful spoons, and I love the significance of these designs. What do they represent?
So the first time I led a team for Medical Education International, I was really scared. How could God use someone like me, who's used to just being a physician, actually be a leader on a spiritual trip? And there was a lot of prayer that people both here in Hamilton, throughout North America provided, as well as in Mongolia for that role of being a team leader. So many interesting stories came out of that interaction, God stories. And the head of the prison fellowship ministry, before I left Mongolia, gave me this set of spoons. They're done by a wood carver from Mongolia. They represent various elements, whether it's rain, fire, clouds, the eternity knot, which is what Mongolia is known for. And the spoons represent...
This was the eternity knot.
That's right. The spoons represent blessing. And she provided it to me, saying that we had been such a blessing to her in her ministry, to the people of Mongolia, and she wanted me to bring this back. And what I always notice are some of the spoons are in the shape of a heart, and it's God's heart that allows us to do the work that we do in Mongolia.
Well, I wish we had time for more of the pictures, but the faces of these people are, well, take a look. We've got some pictures here. Now, would this be a young mother or an older sister?
So it's a sister and a little girl. We were teaching up in one of the outlying areas of Middle Mongolia. We were teaching around cervical cancer prevention, and the mother was in the class, and this little girl was taking care of her baby sister during that teaching time.
Now, this gives us a hint of the landscape. Mongolia is between Russia and China.
Correct.
Right? Central Asia.
And it's steeps, so wide open plains. And this particular gentleman shows the evolution of technology in Mongolia. So you may not have a telephone in Mongolia, but you will have a cell phone.
I
and
wondered.
that's how
Oh
we're
my.
doing a lot of our screening right now, in that we're transferring some of the images into the cancer hospitals so that they can get updated opinions about how to manage some of the patients.
You used the word prevention. That's a big focus, isn't it? Cancer prevention. This is a wonderful. What's the percentage of Christians in
It's
Mongolia?
extremely low. It's probably around 4%. The country is by and large a Buddhist country or an animistic country, but this is taken at a Christian church on a Sunday morning. We always have the privilege of worshiping with the Mongolians when we're in the country.
Here's your team. Now look at, that's you on the left.
Yeah, that's one of the first teams I was on in 1999. And the gentleman in the center with the red tie has been the team leader for many, many years. He just resigned a couple of years ago. In this picture, we have a dentist, we have a general surgeon, we have an obstetrician, an endocrinologist, so you can see it's quite a diverse group of physicians. Plus, we have 3 women who are actually spouses, and they have their own ministry when they're in the country, whether it's feeding the poor, whether it's going in the schools to teach English. Everybody has a role when they go into the country.
And is there, well, there's the producer is having trouble with this shot, but go ahead.
So we teach both didactically in front of crowds of people, but we also teach one-on-one in the operating room or at the bedside, and this is just a shot of us in the operating room doing a cervical cancer
That's you
case.
on the left.
Correct.
Cervical cancer
Correct.
surgery. One of the things that you've written a lovely book about the God stories, really, and the ministry. Why do they come? The Lord's mission to Mongolia. The specialties represented, you've highlighted that briefly. Just a real diversity, wonderful potpourri of, well, the kind of wisdom and insight and training that just wouldn't be available otherwise.
And it's not just medical specialists, it's allied health professionals like nurses, physiotherapy, speech pathology. A number of different professionals come together under this auspice to tell about their specialty, but also about their love of God, is able to be shared amongst the people, whether it's one-on-one or whether it's groups around a dinner table.
That is wonderful, wonderful. Now, it's not all wonderful. You came home. What was the date you came back?
It was the last Saturday in September.
Have I written it down? I think I have. So it was at August 27th.
I'm sorry, right.
August 27th. I should know this too. August 28th was not a good day.
I had gone to church, thought it'd be great to be in church after being in Mongolia, but I developed some symptoms while I was in church. And I sat in church and I thought, God, what is going on? Why is this happening? After a few minutes of being downcast, I suddenly recalled that not only had I finished my trip to Mongolia, but I was slated to go in 5 weeks to Kenya to teach for Christian Medical Dental at the first National Oncology Conference in Nairobi. God has always shown us that we go with a willing heart, but hard things often happen before a trip. It could be chaos at work before a trip. It could be the World Trade Towers coming down on Tuesday when I'm supposed to leave on Friday. It could be SARS breaking out and I have a trip through Beijing to get to Mongolia. This was going to be my struggle. Would I get to Kenya given the symptoms that I had just developed while I was in church that morning?
You were diagnosed on September 6th with uterine cancer.
That's right.
You're the surgeon for this very thing. and now you're the patient.
That's right. You start seeing the patient's view as opposed to the physician's view. What does cancer mean? It's not that you've changed. It's like you keep putting on a hat and you keep changing that hat. Can I wear the cancer diagnosis? No, I don't want to wear the cancer diagnosis. So you take the hat off and then you put it back on and then you take it off and then you cry and then you try and organize your life to get things happening to take care of the fact you're now the vulnerable patient.
Your team, your co-workers rallied around you in a wonderful way.
One of the person's positions who I took when I came to Hamilton, he also had cancer. And one of his sayings was, where would you rather have your surgery? Would you rather have it in a place where you're a number or a place where you're family? I elected to have my surgery in Hamilton where everyone was family. They didn't know I was having surgery there except for a small nucleus group, but boy did they rally around me.
And wow, fast, September 16th, diagnosed on the 6th and surgery on the 16th.
I didn't think I was going to have my surgery till I got back from Kenya, but lo and behold, God had other plans in mind. I wasn't sure if I had the surgery on that date, if I was actually going to get to Kenya, but you have to realize that your health is important and you have to do the things that are necessary to maintain your health. So yes, I had surgery on the 16th of September.